Just an example why it is so easy to remember the words. Example, forget in English, vergessen auf Deutsch, esquecer en português, oublier en français, dimenticar in italiano, olvidar en español. When people go shopping and one forgot the money, you will understand because you know the context. They want to buy something and forgot the money. When you look it up one time, you won't ever forget it later. So you know the word forget, esquecer, oublier, dimenticare, olvidar. You will learn it very easily because it's in a context. So one more time. We have a 1 minute text, and normally you do a repetition. In the beginning, you do it with looking up some details of the grammar and vocabulary, and so you have maybe 3, 4, or 5, maximum 6 minutes for the first sessions. I propose to do it in the morning, at midday, in the evening, but of course you can do it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, at 6 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock, for example. But you have to have some gaps. Your mind has totally to forget anything, and you come back to the same thing. It has to be new for your brain. That's why you have to do, not to repeat it 10 times, let's say. The most effective way is to do it concentrated for some minutes, not more. Okay, and one more time, what people normally don't really know or understand is that really a lesson text like this is only 1 minute in audio. And you read it and repeat it. It's 2 minutes. When you do it slowly the first time and you repeat several times a word, you have maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And with grammar and vocabulary stuff, you have some 6 minutes, let's say. No? I do this for 3 times a day normally, and doing it for a week, and taking another text in the next week, you are able to speak an easy language at a nice intermediate level in 3 months. Like me learning Italian, easy, that means for me, like learning Italian, but coming from a good French knowledge, so it's not always the same thing. I often know the text nicely, fluently, with a good pronunciation after some 15 repetitions, and sometimes the 4th or 5th or 6th or 7th day, I do something else. I do random stuff like radio, TV, newspaper, or social media, and I begin to write things in social media too. Okay, this is about the other additional activities. If you have more time than these 10 minutes, you can do other stuff, of course. Random stuff, like I like to call it. But don't forget this extensive, lazy listening to TV, radio, and so, without much concentration. That's nice, but it's much more interesting to go deeply into the text. Not all the time, but you have to have this core technique where you really dig deeply into the stuff and not just listening superficially. As I'm lazy, I do a mix of these things. 3 times a day, these 3 minutes, and important with the same text as long as you need to be fluent in this stuff. And the rest of the time, I do some lazy stuff without too much concentration, just to listen to serials from TV and so on. But also in this area, you can substitute your lesson text for 1 minute text of a video or of a movie or a podcast. You repeat the same stuff of this 1 minute 15 times until fluency. Sometimes I do some intermediate, lazy or concentrated stuff too, that I listen to an audio in passages. I lastly listened to a text from an Italian guy who explains language learning techniques in the first place, not Italian, but about language learning techniques. And I listened to this 7 minutes presentation some 10 times, but the whole thing 1 time or 2 times a day. Next day, the whole thing for 2 times. And that's a bit a lazy, less concentrated version. And of course you learn many things doing this too, but it's a bit lazy and less concentrated. No? You have to join the 2 things to have some stuff that you really go deeply into the sounds and into the understanding of the grammar and the meaning of the words. Bon. One last thing, I really like to do the whole stuff when I begin. I like to do it with a normal lesson book. Really, I like very much this kind of power course. That means this is 1 book for the whole language. With I have 2 CDs. Often today you have just links for internet. And you have to really download this stuff on your cell phone. It's much easier. You can do the thing with headphones on your way to work or when cooking, let's say. Bon, j'aurais pu vous raconter tout ça en français aussi, bien sûr. Peut-être plus tard je vais faire ça aussi. La même vídeo em français. Mas precisa fazer uma demonstração da minha técnica, ou dizemos, precisa mostrar que ela realmente funciona. A proposito, al momento sto usando questa tecnica per riattivare o rinfrescare il mio italiano. Nunca hago ejercicios en español porque puedo hacerme entender sin hacer ejercicios. Hago muchos errores, pero la comunicación funciona bien. Wie gesagt, ich bin Deutscher und das brauche ich hier nicht weiter zu demonstrieren. And as far as my level in English is concerned, you have been listening to me for a while now, enough to judge my English knowledges. They are not basic, but not very good neither. So I wish you a nice language journey, and to the next video I will do many more